guys, I'm finally upgrading. I'm actually making computer noises now. So this is a bit of an explanation for that I'd like to give you guys about what's going on. So imagine like in a cellular process of like information spreading or searching, right? Let's say that the energy from a conscious thing spreads out and it pushes itself into other particles that it searches for in the environment. And it does it in pulses, so it switches back and forth. It pulses out. And as it pulses, it finds that there are more particles for it to put itself into and this and that, right? And that's just that's just like a way of explaining it. It's not what's going on. And so as it keeps going, it finds that there are more particles and it keeps pulsing and it searches for more and it keeps going, and so that's what's going on, right? In the first context, we call this searching, pulsing of conscious energy through space to safely detect for collisions, safe paths, and flaws, etc., right? And then the second context is the spreadsure of information through a neural network. And so we can see it like this. Let's say one cell has this information, which the only difference between this information and this information is these diagonal lines. And so this cell attempts to pass that information on. And so this cell says, oh, diagonal lines? Oh, thank you, man. I didn't know that. And now they both know that information. Boom. But let's say one of these guys has information and he's trying to pass it to another guy that has information. And let's say this guy has horizontal lines and then vertical lines, right? And so the vertical line guy who's trying to pass on slanted information, he's trying to pass on diagonal information. But this guy's all like, oh, hell no, you one of them vertical niggas, right? And sorry, hold on. All right. So this guy refuses to accept the information because he does not want to accept the vertical information. He doesn't mind the diagonal information, but he just refuses to accept the vertical information. And so what this does is he says, nah, I detected information that I don't want in my brain coming from you. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut you off there, bud. I'm going to go ahead and cut you off. And so what happens is this guy, as of now, can only move horizontally, while this guy can move vertically and diagonally. And based on his willingness to communicate, let's say he can also move horizontally, right? And so boom, right? That's what's going on. And so let's say this, as this goes on, let's say that this pulsing of searching information and spreading information through a neural network continues, and one of these guys decides to stop it. Now, everything beyond that point is not getting the information. This is almost like an unhealthy, this is a loss of that flow of energy, the loss of that circuit of energy, right? And so all the energy cannot make it past this point to reach these other points, these other cells, these other particles, etc., right? And so let's say it goes on and it gets even unhealthier, and there are more people refusing, there are more cells refusing this information, causing unhealthy flow of circuitral searching energy throughout the entire neural network, right? And so, whereas a healthy neural network would look like this, if we were to take the stable line of energy and try to present it through without ever cutting it off or pulsing it, just keep it solid, this is what it would look like. But due to the resistors, the breakers, that's what we're going to call these. We're going to call these breakers. The breakers in the neural network, the energy that can be maintained when the pulse is kept solid, looks more like this if you try to put a shit through all the accepting neurons, cells, etc., all at the same time. And so here's a fact. Here's a funny fact. So the more that the energy that's pulsing for safety realizes that it's found a safe structure and chooses to be stable, let's say in a shared neural network, let's say in our social network where we all have to share each other's thoughts and thinking and all that stuff, the more that, like, let's say I wanted to like pass on the energy, like I wanted to pass on the information that justifies me being rich, successful, happy, etc., right? And I wanted to go throughout the entire network because I wanted to look for resistors to the idea to figure out why it's not occurring, why it's not stably occurring on a shared reality, right? And so the more that this stays stable between a bunch of cells in the network, the more that flow of energy maintains stable frustration, the more that it could frustrate into solid occurrence between all those shared cells. Meaning, the more this information became stably understood between as many cells as possible, the more that information could actually physically occur within the shared social environment through the shared neural network. But if the information is like this, it's going to occur in sporadic, unhealthy ways. So yeah. So, so here's how it goes, right? So let's say this guy, right? He agrees with this guy about vertical lines, but this guy doesn't agree with horizontal lines, right? And so the horizontal lines, let's say the horizontal lines is me being rich, being beautiful, being healthy, being talented, being intelligent, being a fucking player, right? All that shit. Let's say it's all that, right? And this guy is like, no, I don't want that information. I don't want to know that. I don't want that to make sense. I do not want that to make sense. Do not give me that information. I do not want to live in that reality. I do not want that to make sense. I don't care, right? And so why would somebody do that? It doesn't hurt them for me to be rich. It doesn't hurt them for me to be successful. It doesn't hurt them for me to be a player because it's not like I sleep with people's wives or anything, right? So they don't lose anything whatsoever from me being successful, right? So here's a good reason, right? Here's the reason. Maybe it's politics. That's another thing to say. Maybe it's politics. Maybe they don't agree with my political decisions, right? But let's say it's like this. So let's say this guy, he's all like, so you're telling me this nigga's gonna be rich, talented, a fucking bachelor. He's going to be intelligent, and he's going to be... What the fuck does that say? Talented, rich... What were the 5 ones? Rich, talented, bachelor... Oh, he's going to be organized and healthy as well, right? He's going to be all these things. This nigga's unstoppable. If this nigga was like that, he would be unstoppable. I cannot allow that to occur. No way. He would not be beatable, right? And so, like, why would somebody want that, right? Well, control dysfunction, right? Control dysfunction says, these traits give him, me, abilities and resources that I could not control him against if I wanted to, or if it became necessary. That's what this statement says here. Pretty much, the hierarchical control dysfunction wants to always have all other particles, all other beings be lower and function than it so that it can control them. And so it says, hey, you're telling me that one's about to get higher function? Oh, hell no. Nothing can have higher function than me. I want to control everything. And so that's one of the reasons that people would deny it, right? And another reason would be jealousy. It'd be like, oh, no, he don't deserve all that. That don't even make sense, bro. Right? And so the resistors occur. The resistors are nah, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't care, right? And boom, the information's passing. It makes sense. It's stable. It's logical. Nah, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to live in that reality. I don't care. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to live in that reality. And so it's causing this. Now, what are the reasons? What could they say, right? What could they say to justify not accepting logical information, right? Logical, safe, sustainable information that's actually healthier than what they're thinking. What could they say? Well, here's the strategies they use. The breakers look like a reaction. They look like an emotional reaction. They look like a logical reaction. It would be anger and frustration. Oh, so you telling me this nigga is supposed to get everything he want? That nigga don't even work for it, right? So here I'm gonna label them. So the first one is he did something wrong. This reaction states that once again in a control dysfunction, y'all are about to let this nigga be able to do more than I can. Nah, fuck that shit. And so the argument is this person, this cell, lacks stable, moral, ethical behaviors that would worsen and become less controllable if you allowed them more freedom or privilege. And what that means to them is if you gave this person more resources to do whatever they want, because I need to control them, I'm sorry, hold on, let me reword that. So what they suggest is that because this person is not a perfect individual, that giving them more resources will further allow them to do immoral, unethical things. But really, we know that this control dysfunction purposely tries to place conditions onto cells around it to justify lowering those cells' functions so that it can be the controlling cell. Hence the control dysfunction. It will not let the universe and existence around it function properly because it would like to be in control. A huge problem. One of the things that I'm here to solve. Hey, smiley face, bunny ears. That's a cat. I was wrong. Here's a cat nose, but the cat also has a mouth. Now it looks like a pig, and I fucked up this drawing. I'm gonna finish it. And we're doing this, and we're also doing this. And this is one of the pigs, but that pig was evil, and the wolf was in the right? So another thing that these guys can do, they can be all like, he don't deserve that. He doesn't do enough to deserve that. And this function says this breaker function, right? So the first breaker function is he has, as far as I know, my information says that he's got a dysfunction that if you gave it more energy would spread throughout all of our shared environment. So that's why we cannot allow him, which can be summed down to he did something wrong. He's going to do something wrong, right? Boom. That's the first breaker. That's the first breaker reaction. The second breaker reaction is he doesn't do enough to deserve this. Now, pretty much this reaction states that these traits of being rich, talented, organized, a bachelor, intelligent, that you must deserve them. And because this person wants to be in control of everything, because of their control dysfunction, they would have it the condition that nobody other than them deserves to have this. So pretty much this has nothing to do with how much I work, how many hours I spend working a day, how much pain I've gone through. It has nothing to do with that. It's literally just a condition that they would say because it's hard to discuss and hard to prove, and it's one of those breaker reactions that's hard to disprove in the time frame that they're allowing themselves to be interacted with. And so this dysfunction would literally have it that nobody deserves to be as much in control or successful as them. And so we know that that statement, when they use it, is not true because they themselves would also like success and all of these traits, regardless of whether they deserve it or not. And so we know that it's just a breaker reaction that they're using, and it's not honest, and it's a way of cutting off the healthy flow of information through the entire neural network so that this reality cannot occur. So let's continue on. The next one is it doesn't make sense. Now this one is funny. This breaker function says, I just scratched it out because you can't use that anymore because it actually does make sense. So this breaker function establishes that it is illogical to them based on, let's say they say he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't work hard enough. I don't hear that he works hard enough. I haven't heard nothing. I haven't seen him do nothing. I haven't seen him sweating. I haven't seen him bleeding. I had all that shit, right? And they just say all these things, right? But you know that it's just their control dysfunction placing a condition on to state why every other cell should have a dysfunction compared to them for them to control those cells with. It doesn't make sense. It's pretty much a way of, it's ironic in a way because it doesn't make sense to them, yet they're not taking in the information that would make sense of it. It's a bit of an oxymoron. It's a kind of moronic. It's weird. It's a weird little mix. It doesn't make sense to them, so they refuse to accept the information. But because they haven't accepted the information, it doesn't make sense to them. They're kind of doing it to themselves. And so these are the three main breaker reactions to whenever you're trying to be successful and it's working and it's happening that people will use to try and cut off the circulation of that reality through all of people's brains in their neural network. And here's why. It's going to happen for me anyway. Because I was able to articulate and describe this process, it means that it's gone beyond your ability to claim that it doesn't make sense, to claim that I don't deserve it, and to claim that it's not fair. And so it's just going to happen around you. And it's going to become more aggressive because it actually makes sense. It's going to become more aggressive because there's nothing wrong with me being successful. No matter what you say, I've beaten all your arguments. I've beaten all your questions. And so that means that I don't have to hold back. And if you risk your life like a tree hugger to prevent my success, you're not gaining anything from that. And that's pretty much you committing suicide against something that makes sense to logically occur. It's not my fault. And you can't be like, man, he keep trying to kill people because he want to be rich. That's selfish. Man, there are people on the street doing this and that, and he trying to kill people so he can be rich. I'm not trying to kill anybody. I used to retreat. I used to like pull back. Like when I would like, whenever I would like start searching out for like what I wanted, like spreading myself, my information, I would pull back because you guys would be all like, how come you deserve it and these people don't? Huh? And I didn't have an answer for that. So I would pull back and I would make it easier for you guys to kind of break through me, even when I made sense, right? Because I was like, all right, you're right. I don't know everything. I need to figure this out. I'm pulling back, right? Boom. And so you guys would, shout out Kevin Hart, because I don't know why I keep doing that. So pretty much now that I know I'm right, now that I know it's not wrong for me to be successful, and I know the strategies that you use to cut off the circulation of my success so that you don't have to witness or experience it, even though it makes more sense than me not being successful. That's a fact. That's a law now. That's illegal. Okay? What's going to happen now is that if you use these strategies, now that they've been comprehended, the shared environment, including conscious existence itself, and everybody keeping up and trying to be honest and survive, is going to say, no, you're just doing that. Simply because it's not just to help me. Some of these people are going to recognize, oh, fuck, that's what y'all be doing to me. And so now they're going to have an incentive to call it out, whether it's for me or not. And them calling it out is going to help me spread anyway. Thus stabilizing my reality, stabilizing my success. I'm not wrong. You can challenge me. You can be all like, man, I'm gonna put myself in a position where if he keeps going, it's gonna kill me. And if he kill me, man, that's selfish as fuck, man. He should have just stopped there because I was gonna die. That's selfish. No, you were being selfish by threatening suicide if somebody became successful. That's your own fucking fault. Eat your own fucking food when you make it, bitch. Oh shit. Oh damn. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much what's gonna happen now. Thank you guys for watching this video. And once again, I love you, and I'm always watching.